The Old Globe Theater was built for the 1935 California Pacific Exposition. It was a replica of the Old Globe in London, built in 1599. The theater was only a temporary structure with cardboard walls and no roof at all. It was to be torn down with the closing of the exposition in 1936. During that year, the comedies and tragedies of William Shakespeare played to standing room only audiences. San Diegans had fallen in love with the warmth and the charm of the Old Globe, and the thoughts of a wrecking company destroying it was inconceivable. Private citizens worked frantically, raising funds to buy the building. Then they turned their efforts to improving that building. So the plays of William Shakespeare continued until World War II. During the war years, the Navy used the theater as a center for USO shows, training films, and what have you. But at the conclusion of the war, the Old Globe once again returned to the works of William Shakespeare. But on March the 8th of this year, a totally different audience attended the Old Globe. They gathered on the green in stunned silence and watched their beloved theater destroyed by fire. A fire deliberately set by arsonists. Ironically, the Old Globe in London was fire in 1613, and it was rebuilt by the citizens. Those closely associated with the Old Globe, such as the director, could not believe what had happened. Victor Buono, an extremely capable Shakespearean actor, found it difficult to express his feelings. After the initial shock and indignation of this tragedy wore off, the people of San Diego once again started a campaign to keep the Old Globe. Contributions from community leaders started coming in. Actors and actresses volunteered their time and their talent to raising funds. The Highlander, a local men's store, was so avidly concerned with the rebuilding of the Old Globe, they were able to interest the Wool Bureau from Australia and New Zealand to lend a helping hand. The result was a star-studded evening at the Town and Country. Sally Struthers was there, Bill Dana, and Edith Head was among those devoting their time. Prior to the show, I had an opportunity to talk with some of the celebrities. Mr. Charlton Heston was one.
The Old Globe Theater is important not only to San Diego, but to everyone who cares about theater, not only in California, but in the United States. It's not only the steady tradition of production it's over the years, is very valuable to anybody who cares about theater. And I care, and I want to see it built again. We need it.
We're very proud to have people like you, and thank you.
The Old Globe, I want it back.
What kind of support and offers do you get from the city, from the businesses, corporations, not only buying tickets, but donating things? As an example, the flowers needed to be, table decorations needed to be donated, the foliage that we're using, the staging. I don't think we ever could have done it without the community, the business community, pitching in and helping us. In other words, they all feel that the Old Globe was very much a part of their community and part of them.
Oh, you bet. I honestly believe, and it's my firm's belief very strongly, that a good measure of business has been received from the San Diego community by the Highlander stores, as an example, and we want to take this opportunity to pay that measure back. A lot of businesses feel that way, and are doing this as their portion to help rebuild the globe.
Pete, what does the Old Globe really mean to San Diego?
Well, Jack, I think it's terribly important, not simply because of the entertainment that it gives, but it really is one of the institutions of the city. It has brought about not only entertainment, but instruction to literally generations of San Diegans. And well, again, that's what tonight is all about. There's a tremendous outpouring of support here, both material, emotional. This is going to be a success because that's the way San Diegans want it. They won't have it any other way.
Not only major celebrities took part in this gala performance, but dancers, musicians, choreographers, and models. And as a result, $41,000 was raised in one single night. Perhaps one of the most capable and gifted Shakespearean actors today is Anthony Zerbe. He has appeared as a regular performer at the Old Globe since the early 1960s. Mr. Zerbe made a special trip to San Diego last week to reminisce about the Old Globe. How did you as an actor, feel when you first heard that the Old Globe had burned down?
Well, Jack, I was in Baltimore with Valerie Harper, and we were doing a play, and the television was on in the hotel room, and I suddenly saw these flames engulfing the silhouette before I heard any audio, and then they said the Old Globe was burned down, and I started to, all of my experience here came back to me, and I started to get upset, and I love this place. I did my first Shakespeare here, and I was here for 4 seasons, and I loved the theater beyond imagining. So it was hard to deal with, and at the same time, I still hold the theater deeply inside of me, you know. It will always be the place, and those memories and what that was is always the same, you know. So I'm very complete with the place. It's like someone you love, you know. You're very complete with them if you're not with them, and it's okay. And now it's going to be built into something wonderful. So, there's one other thing, Jack, a personal touch. In 1935, when this theater was built, my father, who was a traveling salesman, met my mother here in San Diego for one night, and they came to the theater, saw As You Like It, went to the hotel, and I was conceived.
So you are a product of this theater?
I am. And now I'm looking up there and it says 63 I was here and played Coriolanus. No, 65, 66, and 67 I did Othello. I was here in 66.
You have trod these boards. If you wanted to leave something for the people of San Diego and have another moment on this stage, what would you say?
To rebuild it and to keep alive everything that's within these walls, a little tattered now. All the vibrations that are here. I love this theater. You know, every actor that's ever worked here loves this theater. So it'll be rebuilt. It'll be another larger, expanded possibility for the experience of Shakespeare and for the thousands of people that come here. You know, this theater is sold out. They operate at 100%. It's incredible. I don't think there's any other theater in the world that operates like that.
How would Shakespeare sum all of that up?
What a piece of work is a man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me.